Well, the Obama health care law took away some of that and replaced it with what they call a community rating. Now there are only a few factors that can be used to set people's premiums, and where you actually live is one of those things. So your premiums used to be based on you, but now they're based on your neighbors and how likely your neighbors are to use their own health insurance. So what we're seeing is all across the country, people are paying more specifically because of where they live.
I mean, just when you think it can't get any crazier, Senator, and we welcome Senator John Barrasso, Chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee. Senator, just when you think it can't get any nuttier, you come to the floor with a chart documenting how nutty it really is.
Well, it's absolutely right, Steve, and it is nutty because it's interesting. You want to save money or end up paying more depending on which side of the street you live. And we had a number of maps on the Senate floor during this speech to show that same person living on one side of the street or the other could end up paying up to $600 a year more for health insurance for the kind of the cheapest, lowest level silver plan, not because of their health, not because of fitness, not because of pre-existing condition, but solely because of which side of the street they live. And this is happening all over America. So there are so many of the unintended consequences of the health care law, but people know they're not being treated fairly.
All right, so explain again for those who might not have gotten a full value out of that short clip, because that's not fair to present your whole case there and facts with that short clip. How does that work exactly? In other words, if you live on a healthier, lower risk side of the street, your neighbors are lower risk and healthier, you'll be clumped in with them? How does that work?
Well, when they set up the exchanges around the country and in different states, they had to draw the lines someplace to have insurance companies bid on providing insurance in certain areas. And so we found a number of locations where, depending on which side of that line or which side of that street you live, your premiums can change dramatically. And it has nothing to do with living a healthy lifestyle. It just has to do with what the insurance companies decide they want to choose to what they're going to be charging in different neighborhoods. And specifically, we're finding these, interestingly enough, in a lot of the states where there are some of the most competitive Senate races. So the ones that I presented on the floor yesterday had to do with Arkansas, North Carolina, Louisiana, additional programs in Colorado, where one rancher said, you know, it used to be a pre-existing condition. Now, he said, I'm being penalized for a pre-existing zip code.
I got to tell you, you know, and you know, it is just insane. And you know what's also insane? And maybe I'm off base. I don't know, but it just seems to me you pay less car insurance if you have a good driving record. You pay less life insurance premiums if you're, you know, past the blood tests and you're healthy and your weight is down and your blood pressure is good compared to the other people. And where's the incentive to stay healthy exactly here?
Oh, there's absolutely no incentive to stay healthy in the president's health care law. In his view of society with equal outcome for everyone, he's removed the incentives for appropriate behavior. That's one of the big problems of the health care law. There are so many problems. We could spend all day on the whole problems of how it was, you know, sold based on what's been called the lie of the year, and the promises, so many of them broken. But people continue to find things that they just hate about the health care law because of how it affects them personally.
And it's reflected in poll after poll after poll. The numbers keep going down on approval, and they keep standing there and calling all those people who have problems. Harry Reid says they're all a bunch of liars, and it's all made out of whole cloth and fabricated. It's just, it is just amazing. Let me ask you, Senator, a couple of days ago we got this White House report on climate. And lo and behold, did you know that basically John Podesta, basically what he said was, if you open your window and look out the window, you cannot deny that there's man-made, and now they call it climate change, because there are storms, and there are fires, and there's rain, and there's floods, and I guess this never happened before.
It is astonishing what this White House continues to do to try to mislead the American people in an effort to force through their agenda, which is hurting and continues to hurt jobs all across the country. And it's so interesting because when the president had 60 Democrats in the Senate, they had control of the House with Nancy Pelosi in charge, he still couldn't get his radical environmental energy tax through Congress. It failed.
Right.
People on both sides of the aisle voted against it. The American people don't want this. So you have a president who goes way beyond the original intent of laws, whether it's the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, twists and turns things to his own ideology, and it continues to hurt the American economy. I mean, that's the tragedy of this, is there are people that want to work in this country, all over the country, and the president's making it harder for them to get to work and to find good-paying jobs.
Well, Harry Reid, just yesterday, as I'm sure you're well aware, won't allow Keystone to come up in the Senate, even though there are Democrats running for re-election who might very well give you the votes to pass Keystone. Well,
both the president and Harry Reid, in my opinion, are being held hostage by, a billionaire from San Francisco, very liberal, named Steyer, who has offered $100 million to campaign for Democrats to be spent on Democrat candidates who oppose Keystone. So Harry Reid, it's reported, went to Steyer's home in San Francisco, took a number of liberal senators with him, and I don't know what kind of a blood oath they made, but it seems like $100 million is quite an offer to say, hey, block something that even is going to help American jobs, help American energy security, and even the president's State Department has said the impact on the environment is negligible, and it would create at least 42,000 additional jobs. The unions want it. Folks who are looking for affordable energy want it. And yet the president, it's astonishing, the president of the United States and the majority leader of the United States Senate would be swayed and influenced by somebody basically offering money.
Yeah. All right. Let me ask you to comment, sir. I'd be remiss if I did not. We have a couple of reports, both involving Hillary Clinton, and you might have heard me at the end there. One, at the end of my rant before you came on, one involves Hillary saying that she has all the answers she needs regarding Benghazi, and she's questioned the motives of those who would go further, for instance, with the Select Committee. I read that as a combination of two statements. What difference does it make? And vast right-wing conspiracy.
Well, I think the recent release of the emails from the White House under the Freedom of Information Act that they withheld from Congress shows that the White House is still holding and hiding things from the American people. That's to me what the problem really is. It is continuing to be a White House cover-up, and the American people want additional answers, and we're going to make sure we get them.
And as far as Boko Haram, the terrorist group that's responsible reportedly for the kidnapping of all the Nigerian girls, and the 300 dead now in a village in the past 2 days in Nigeria, plus the death of 60 boys in a boarding school in February in Nigeria. The State Department for a couple of years refused requests by Peter King and others in the House, and maybe some in the Senate that you might know of, to declare them, put them on their list as a state-sponsored terrorist group. They were an offshoot of Al-Qaeda, and under Hillary Clinton, the State Department refused for 2 years. Is she going to have to answer for that?
Well, I think that the administration and the former secretary will have to answer. Our hearts go out and our prayers go out to all of those involved in what's happening there on the ground. Tragic and heart-sickening, and our thoughts and prayers are with them.
Listen, thank you for making everyone aware of the ridiculousness of the premiums. I guess we should come up with a name, maybe the grass is greener on the other side outrage or something. But it just shows another flaw that was previously unknown in the Obamacare. And thank you very much for pointing that out, Senator.
You're sure welcome. You take care of yourself.
You too. Take care. My pleasure. All right, folks. Senator John Barrasso. Here on the Steve Malzberg Show, Chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee. And imagine that. Imagine that. And again, where is the incentive? There is no incentive. When you can't pay more than your neighbor, and you have to have the same exact policy basically as your neighbor. You have to have, gynecological care if you're a man, because that's what all the policies have to have, and you can't be penalized for being unhealthy. Then where's the incentive to stay healthy? As far as a financial incentive, it's not there, as the senator said. It's just not there. You have an incentive to drive safely, not run a red light. What if you could run a red light and and you could build up points on your license and nothing happened. You'd run red lights, wouldn't you? What if you wanted life insurance and it didn't matter how much you weighed or what health you were in? You wouldn't care. And that's what we have here with Obamacare. One size fits all. We're coming back with the Malzberg panel.